Greetings my Umbraco pals, my name is John and in this video we're going to be looking at getting rid of that annoying locking issue that occurs whenever you try to do a publish using Umbraco v9. Now this locking issue occurs because Umbraco v9 uses .NET Core, ASP.NET 5, 6, whatever you want to call it. Now historically this never used to be an issue. In ASP.NET Framework, when we're doing Umbraco v8 below, what used to happen is you'd get your IIS website, you'd point it to some files, job is a good one. However, in .NET 5, .NET 6, because we can host our application in different environments now, so your Windows, your Linux, your Macintoshes, what can happen is that the files to actually run the website, the files needed to generate and launch everything, they need to be created now via a publish process because we need to go through some different options. So what happens, and if you look at any .NET Core application, they'll be created with a program.cs. In there you'll see that there's a main file. And what happens is when we start launching our website from a web server, the web server will talk to main, this will then create a thread, that thread will lock while the website is running, and the only way to start publishing is basically to turn that thread off. If you don't do that, if you try and do a subsequent publish, then everything will fail. So what we're going to do in this video is get rid of that annoying locking issue. We're going to be doing that in 3 different ways. 1 manually, 2 automated to be the big dogs, and 3 via MS Web Deploy. So if we're pushing our code onto production using deploys, we can get rid of the issue that way. So these are super useful things, and if you're currently working with Umbraco v9 and you're encountering this locking issue, this is the video which is going to make your life much more productive. Now we are in the middle of a series on Umbraco v9. There's been loads of cool stuff so far, how to host things in Docker, controllers, content modeling, all that beautiful stuff. So if Umbraco floats your boat, smash the subscribe button right now. Also check out the other videos, there's a link below in Ultimate Umbraco Guides. So assuming you've done that, and you better have done that, if you don't do that you are not a legend, let's have a look at how to manually unlock these files. To get this party started, let's have a quick look at the setup and see the problem in action. So as you can see on the screen, we have IIS, we have a website which is called jdj.local. If I do an explore, you can see it's pointing to this websites folder which is called Umbraco v9 Starter Kit. And in here we have got a load of codes. So basically this is mapping to our website. So this is jdj local, it's up and running. Now if I open up the Visual Studio and I try and do a publish, what will happen is part way through this process everything's going to get into a bit of a tizzy and I should see some error. So any minute now we're going to see a little bit of red and things are going to go belly up. There we go, unable to delete file, locking error has come into play. Now the way that I've got this set up at the moment, if I try and review my site, everything's going to be broken. If I try and do a republish, then it should go through again. Now there's different types of locking access, and what we're going to do is look at how we can get rid of them. I've given the website a little bit of a kick and you can see it's up and running again. So the first thing we need to discuss is how can we prevent this locking from happening. Now you might not be aware that IIS has this inbuilt mechanism. So basically if you create a file which is called app_offline.html and you put that in your web root, what will happen is IIS will automatically redirect all the traffic to this static web page. This will then unlock anything which is like .NET Core or .NET 5 related. So then you can do a publish and you won't encounter that error. So let's have a look at this process to prove it works. So we're in our web root, we're going to create a new file. Let's call it app_offline.html or HTM. Now we've got the file and that's the only change I've made to our website. If we have a look at it, do a refresh, you can see that we're getting a 503 error. Now the reason why we're getting this 503 error is because obviously I've just created a page with no HTML. So now if I copy this amazing HTML that I've generated, have a look at that, put it back into our website, what we'll do is we'll see that beautiful hello welcome message. And then finally, if we just go in there, delete it, try and review the website, we'll see that it's going to reload. So this is basically the process that you'll need to follow if you want to prevent this locking. Now, manually having to create this locking file and then remove this locking file every single time you want to do a publish is going to be a complete ball ache. So we want to automate this process. Now there's two ways of automating it. The first one that we're going to look at is updating our CS Podge file to include some build scripts. So what we're going to say is before we do a publish, what we're going to do is create this app_offline HTML, and then after the publish is finished, we're then going to automatically remove it. So let's have a look how we do that. In order to apply this change, head on over to your solution, go into your website, and then locate your website CS Podge file and open it up. So opening up this file is basically going to look like this. So you're going to have loads of XML, it's going to define all the different project references, all the files, all that kind of beautiful stuff. Now what I recommend you do is scroll right down to the bottom, and what we need to do is apply these two commands. Now remember, all of this is available from my starter kit, which is linked below. So what we're going to do is define a pre-build task. So when we're building our application, before we do anything, we're going to create an app offline file, as you can see here, and then it's going to be added into our project directory. So we're doing this using the echo command, so Windows only. Then after this, we need to do a post-build task. And in our post-build, you can see that we're going to delete this file that we've created within the project directory called app offline HTML. So this simple process is going to allow us to unlock our files, and let's see it in action. We've now run through two processes of creating app offline HTML, either manually or through a build script on the CS Podge. There is a third one, and that is to add a config value within a publish profile. So let's have a look at how we can do that. I think this one's probably the most useful, and it's one that I recommend that you look at. Now, within the Visual Studios, to do a publish, basically go to the build script at the top and then go to publish, and this beautiful screen will load. Now from here you can create a publish profile, and in this example I've got a publish profile. It's called folder profile3.pubxml. Now this profile right here, even though it's in the UI, will map to a file which is available on our webroot. So if you open up your website, open up properties, go into publish profile, you can see that we have all of these publish profiles that I've already created. And if I click on folder profile 3, you can see that we've got the XML. Now, just going back to the UI quickly, if I click on show settings, what we can see is a number of options. So we can do the build target, so debug, docker, or release. We can do the target framework, and we can also do the deployment mode. Now, if you're new to .NET 5, ASP.NET Core, this is kind of new because there's a few options here which wasn't available in the ASP.NET framework. So if you're saying framework dependent, what's going to happen is when we create all the files, or MS Build does it, I'm not going to do anything if I'm honest. When MS Build is creating all the files for you, it's going to release everything, assuming that the framework is installed on the host environment. So this means that your files are going to be much smaller. Now you can also do a self-contained build, and from here this is going to install basically all the dependencies it needs to run on anything, and you can actually define if you want to include it or publish it on a Winx, a WinArm, a OS X, a Linux. So this will basically determine what kind of files that you're doing. Now whenever you do one of these options and click save, what's going to happen is this XML file is going to be updated. Now we can also actually add in extra hidden settings within this file which aren't available from the UI. So as you can see, if we scroll down the bottom, I've created this extra config at the bottom, and the setting is called enable ms deploy app offline, and I've set it to true. So setting this to true and enabling it, you know what it's going to do, exactly the same as the previous, is that it's going to create app offline before it publishes. After it's published, it's going to remove it, so then we can get rid of this locking issue. We now know how to get rid of that pesky little locking issue with our publishing. The secret is the app offline HTML. Now obviously we can create it manually, however that's a pain. So what I recommend you do is either create a batch script, which I didn't go in this video. You could do a publish profile like we covered, or you could update your CS Podge file to unlock things. So regardless of what you're trying to do, there is an approach. The secret is app offline, publish, remove the file. Job done. Now, this trick may seem really simple, however when I first started learning Umbraco v9, this locking thing really grinded my gears, and this tip saved me a lot of time. Now if you agree with me and you enjoyed this tip, let me know by clicking on that little like button. Clicking on like basically tells me you want to see more Umbraco content on this channel and you haven't got bored of it. Also helps me get my video in front of more people, so I'd greatly appreciate it. Now again, if you've watched this far into this video, you must like me, I like you, we're great friends, and you can support me by subscribing to this channel and seeing all the other videos within the series and all the other videos on how to become a better developer. Also, my book is now available. We're on chapter 2, it's called Umbraco Mastery. It's only about $9. It's written on a week at a time. I'd appreciate your support if you want to show some love for this channel. That is one of the best ways to support me, keep me motivated writing that book. Otherwise, I hope you have found some value from this. I hope you haven't got your knickers in a twist because they're locked anymore. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are in the world. So, until next time, happy coding.